Hi there, hi, it's me, it's Mike, and I've got more figures to talk about because I got another shipment from Toy Snowman because he loves me. And also I pay for them. Let's get into it. So let's not beat around the bush. Let's just start with the one that everyone wants to see, and that is the titular Mandalorian Glamis Ringworld version. This is the all-new, brand-new Mandalorian from head to toe, though probably the figure I've been looking forward to the most the whole time, maybe without even knowing it. This is a figure that has been a long time coming. Basically, the first one came out in 2019, then we got a little update for that Beskar version in 2020. And then since 2020, we've had the same Mandalorian with very minor tweaks, released after release, after release, after release. And even though 2020 was only almost 4 years ago now, actually, that has actually gone by a lot faster than I thought it would. Maybe that hasn't been as short a time as I thought. 4 years is actually a pretty good amount of time to go between figure updates now that I think about it. This is, from the episodes in Book of Boba Fett where Boba Fett wasn't really in them at all. It was all it's like the Mandalorian show. I didn't hate it, but it definitely did seem a little weird. Like this could have just been in Mandalorian, or maybe just cut a little bit better. Anyways, this is the side. On the back it says, after entrusting Luke Skywalker with Grogu's care, the Mandalorian, known to few as Din Djarin, sets off to learn more about the origins of his people. Let's go ahead and get this out, shall we? That's weird. That's never happened before. Well, here he is. Here's the Mandalorian, like I said, brand new from head to toe. We have a fantastic figure that I'm just going to spend a little time going on to. I know this is the one that most people wanted to see anyway. I'm going to make this more of a traditional review, but it is going to be a little more truncated. Just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, this is the Mandalorian from, I believe this is the 2-pack version. I did give him, I don't think he came with this. I think I gave him someone else's, but I might be wrong. But he does have the spear, and this is the only version that came with the spear. That's just one of many of these Mandalorians that have been released. I just chose this one because it's the one that matches this one the closest, because this is from season 2 and this is from like season 2.5, if you will. I think the helmet is a lot better than this one. I think it's a lot more accurate to the show. I think his profile is a lot better. Like his shoulders are a little bigger like they are in the show. The chest piece is a little bigger like it is in the show. Same with the little strap here. There's a lot going on here. We have the little blue knee pad. We've got all kind of the same bit. But first things first, you should notice that he does have a nice soft goods cape. Now it's not wired or anything, but it actually is a pretty good material. It's got some weathering and holes at the bottom of it, and that's great for an upcoming accessory. There is not a head underneath. There's this little kind of a silver face that's probably faceless. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could heat this up and pop it off and see the horror that is underneath. I will not be doing that. Like I said, the helmet is actually really good. Easily the best Mandalorian helmet we've had so far. The luster of this is also very nice. It's very shiny for what it is, and I really, really like that. We have an overlay right here, which is nice. That's a separate piece. And then underneath that is this separate piece. This is a whole piece. This little strap right here down to the middle, and it actually goes underneath the chest piece. That's a whole separate piece, and that's really nice. We have a lot of great sculpting, a lot of great detailing. I love it. And again, the silhouette is right. The silhouette is what, to me, is super important when you have someone like the Mandalorian. Articulation is great. We have our normal head articulation for modern figures. The shoulders actually have one of the newer ball joints where it's more of a universal joint. The shoulder piece can actually rotate independently of the arm. The elbow moves all the way up at a more than 90-degree angle, as well as, of course, it does have this swivel. Now, there's also an extra swivel here at the arm, which is a great addition that's been missing from the Beskar Mandalorians, but I believe the original Mandalorian had. And of course, we have a rotating wrist as well as a hinge. Now, this does not have a ball joint. If this had had a ball joint, it would have been absolutely perfect, but I'm not gonna really poo-poo it because, I mean, it works fine. It just could have been better. That's like the one thing that I really wish it had. He does have a great range of movement at the waist. His legs kick out this far. They kick back this far. It still does have the upper thigh swivel. We have a singular cut at the knee as well as a swivel there. I do wish that this had been floating, and that's just so this could go up and down, you know, so if you want to bend the knee, the rockets aren't pointing up. That's a big gripe I have with these. I do think that the leg is proportioned okay. Like, this is not too short. Sometimes with these kinds of knees, this part ends up being too short, and I don't think that's the case here. Then, of course, we do have a hinge and a rocker at the ankle, with this being about his widest stance with both his feet flat on the ground. So let's go over some of his accessories, and he comes with a lot. Let's start small. First, he has this little knife, and this is a little knife that has been missing from a Mandalorian release for quite some time. To my knowledge, I don't think we've ever had a Mandalorian with a knife. It is quite small, but that's to be expected. It's probably one of the best knives we've had in the Black Series line. It's got some molding and decent painting on there. And then for storage, it just slips right into a little cut on his boot, exactly where it should be. And I'll probably just keep it there, but the fact that he has it, I love that. That's something, like I said, has been missing for a while. Next, of course, he does come with a blaster because weapons are kind of his religion. What would a gunslinger like Mando be without a blaster? This is a standard blaster we're used to seeing. I don't remember what it's called, and I'm not going to look it up right now. It's got great sculpting and a little bit of paint on the handle there. It's got a good shine. It's probably one of the best versions of this gun that we've gotten. There's a holster for it right on the side, and what I love about this holster is there is no over strap for it. And I don't know if that's actually accurate to the show or not, but usually they have some kind of strap for it, and I hate those straps because they rely on a little button like right here, and that just never stays in, especially when the gun or the blaster is in the holster. It never stays. So I'm glad that he doesn't have that. Next, we have this rocket pack. Now, it looks like this rocket pack is compatible with the Boba Fett rocket boosters that came with the deluxe Boba Fett. I did not want to dig the box for mine out of my garage right now. I'm getting on a plane and flying out tomorrow, and I just didn't have time to root around my garage looking for two little flame effects, but it looks like it should work. Let me know if you try it, but I would bet dollars to donuts that those flame effects will work in there just fine. And this is what's so great about having the soft goods cloak or robe or cape, whatever it is, because now we can just pop this right on without having to take the cape off. And that's been a problem with every version of this Mando that's come out so far. Is they've come with rocket packs, sure, but if you wanted to have him wear it, you had to take the cape off, and that sucks because the cape is part of his look. Now, one of the things I do wish he had is maybe a heavier cape or a wire on here, because it doesn't hang like it should. It should probably hang like this, but it kind of sticks out because it's just so light. There's no actual weight to it. But that's kind of how it looks when he wears it in the show, where it's just kind of draped over like this. He doesn't come with his Ambin phase rifle, but if you wanted to, there is still a spot for it that you could put one in, or you could put in the little clip for his spear if you wanted to. Now, he doesn't come with these because at this point, he has lost the Ambin phase rifle. He lost that in season 2, so that's not a thing anymore. And he did have the spear in the first episode of the show, but it was melted down. So he didn't have that for very long in the Book of Boba Fett. But what he did have is the Darksaber, and this is the first Mando to come with the Darksaber. It's the second character. We had the first one coming with Moff Gideon and the second one coming with Pre Vizsla. This is the first one to come with a Din Djarin, but this one is a little bit different because it has a little hook right here. So if you want to, you can take the blade off, and there's a little hook right on the back of his belt, and you can hang the Darksaber on there if you want to. And I absolutely love when there's storage for lightsabers. I am going to be posing Din here with the Darksaber in hand. Now, if there's one thing you remember from those episodes when he fought Paz Vizsla, is that he was having a hard time holding the lightsaber. It was very heavy for him. So you can recreate that here very well. I have to say, mwah, I love this. Absolutely love it. Hasbro knocked it out of the park. I got this in 2023, so for me, this is eligible and very likely going to show up in my top 10 figures of 2023. And if you're wondering why I had two of these, that is because Landspeeder Luke, friend of me and the show, friend of my channel, just a friend, he did give me one for Christmas. So thank you very much to Luke for getting me this. I appreciate it muchly, and this will be the one that goes in my collection, the one that you gave me. Moving on, let's go to Cad Bane. Now, if you've watched my channel before, I have recently done a Cad Bane video, practically this very Cad Bane video. There was a 2-pack released earlier this year with Cad Bane and Cobb Vanth. Is that Cad Bane different from this Cad Bane? Let's find out, shall we? First, again, we've got some nice artwork. This is definitely Black Chrysanthemum on the side there. On the back, it says, renowned bounty hunter Cad Bane was known for his impressive arsenal of weapons and allies. His work with the Pike Syndicate on Tatooine led him face to face with Boba Fett, which is basically, you know, that is exactly what happened in the show. And I'm glad that this was released after the fact, where they can actually put what actually happened on the box instead of just a generic kind of little spiff about the series as a whole, which I don't like. So let's keep things moving along and get it started. So here we have the Book of Boba Fett, Cad Bane out of the box, and I'm just really, really curious about how different this guy is from the one that I reviewed just a few months ago. Just for the uninitiated, that one is this one right here. This was part of a 2-pack from Target, but I kind of wanted to go through and see exactly what the differences are. And I have to say, I can see right off the bat some of the major differences. The face on this one has sort of a scowl, and then this one is just a different scowl. That's it. There's a slight different face. I like this one better. I think this one's got a little bit more personality, but this one's still good. I'm not gonna say this one's not good. I will say some other things. Some things I wasn't expecting. The paint on this one is overall a lot better than this one. Like, this is just molded plastic, whereas this has some paint on it to give it more of a shine. I was not expecting that. There's also not a molded hole here. There's one here for the flamethrower effect that he came with. I just feel like the paint overall on the one from the 2-pack is just, it's just a lot better. As far as his accessories go, it's just a blaster like this. It's a really cool kind of six shooter looking gun. I like it, I dig it. It is the exact same that the original came with. Even it looks even like even down to the paint, it looks the exact same. He does have holsters that the blasters can fit into on his legs. Overall, I'm still very impressed with this figure. I would be very surprised if this didn't end up in my top 10 this year, but it will be this one instead of this one. I think that the paint apps and the extra accessories really does put this over. But if you didn't grab this one, either you didn't find it on sale or you didn't know about it, or for whatever reason, if you didn't pick this one up, this is going to be a good alternative. I just don't think it's quite as good. It's not bad, it's just not as good. And next, that brings us to the Tusken Chieftain here. Again, from Book of Boba Fett, we have the Tusken Chieftain, the leader of a tribe of Tusken Raiders. The Tusken Chieftain captured Boba Fett after his escape from the Sarlacc in the Great Pit of Carkoon, which is exactly what happened. Let's just get it open, shall we? So here we have the Tusken Chieftain. Now, this isn't an entirely new figure, but there is some new here that I wanted to kind of look at and show off. First of all, I mean, let's just go ahead and bring out the original Tusken Raider, because how can you really have a good comparison without looking at it? So the only thing I think they probably share is the legs. Even the robe is different. The sculpting and molding, I guess not molding, but the sewing on the robe is completely different. So I was kind of expecting that just to be the same but dyed, but it is not. We have a different chest piece. From what I can see, the arms are the same. But other than the legs and the arms, everything else is surprisingly different. We have this really nice big necklace. We have a brand new head, and we have whatever this little harmonica thing is. Mine seems to be a little crooked, and I don't know if it's supposed to be attached or not, but it is not. But mine does seem to kind of want to list to the side, which can be a little annoying. And then he does come with this giant staff, which I think is pretty cool. It's like a gaffy stick or gatterfy stick or however it is, but it's a big old staff to, I guess, denote his position among the tribe. This robe really is pretty stiff. I'm pretty impressed with it, honestly. It's not wired or anything, but it does have a lot of weight to it. Whatever they did to it gave it some pretty good weight. So here we have the Tusken Chieftain here. I'm not gonna go into much of it, because if you've ever played with the Tusken Raider from the Black Series before, you know what this feels like. It's not really different, but it is different enough to where, you know, if you've been like me and you've bought a couple of Tusken Raiders over the years, this is going to be necessary for your collection so that you can have a leader for those Tusken Raiders. And I do love his face. That is a good face. I love the fade of the gradient that goes from light to dark here. Hasbro really did do a good job with the Tusken Chieftain. The only thing we're missing is that badass Tusken that was like in charge of, you know, fighting and training and stuff. Once we get her, I think it was, and then maybe maybe that kid, you know, and maybe that big monster that Boba fights. Baby, we got a steal going. And then lastly, we have the Pike Soldier, the other one I've been looking forward to with a lot of anticipation, just because I've always liked the Pike designs in the Clone Wars, and then when they showed up in Solo, I was really excited we got them in live action, and then when they were a main proponent or antagonist in Book of Boba Fett, I was excited to see it there as well. So we have the nice mural art on the side. On the back, it says that during the Clone Wars, the Pikes became the galaxy's prominent spice dealers, funneling illicit substances to Coruscant's crime families. After Jabba the Hutt's death, they expanded their spice trade to encompass Tatooine. And this is number 7 in the line. So let's go ahead and get this open, shall we? This Pike Soldier is all new. Let's check this out. So we have this nice big hood. This is an overlay here. We've got some butterfly joints inside the arm there. We've got a nice deep bend. He does not have ball joint wrists, but we do have a standard hinge and swivel. Got a decent move on the head. Now, does the head pop off? I don't want to break it. I don't think it does. I tried, doesn't look like it. I don't see anything under there. So we're gonna say it doesn't have anything under the head. We have a great lower body. It's just kind of a standard figure, although the rubber does hinder the movement a little bit. He does have a decent bend and a swivel, and he does have an upper thigh swivel. So in this wave, the only one that doesn't have the upper thigh swivel is Cad Bane. With this being his widest stance with both his feet flat on the ground, and that's mostly just because of the hindrances in the molded rubber here. There's no cut in the side, which I actually appreciate. A lot of times when they have skirts this long, they'll put a cut right here so you can get more movement on the leg, but I find that to be unsightly. So even though it's a little bit more hindered, I like it. I do like all the detailing in the shirt. We have a couple little paint apps on the belt. There's a lot of great sculpting here, but I think the star of the show is this gold face. The gold really is nice. But let's move on from that and show off his accessories. He does come with 2 blasters. We have this blaster here. It's just a nice little kind of handheld pistol. There's no paint on it. It's molded in a decent color. It's not that boring kind of gray, but it's not black either. I do like all the detailing. And he does have trigger fingers molded on both of his hands. So if you want him dual wielding, he can. But that's kind of an issue with this, is your options are having him dual wield or putting one of the blasters up, because he does not have any storage on the blasters. There's no holster under here. I thought maybe this was going to be a holster when I was looking at it, but it is not. There's no holster for this little pistol, which I kind of wish there was. And then lastly, we have this nice rifle. The rifle's molded in the exact same color as the pistol. It has kind of the same level of detailing. It's a good blaster rifle. And if you want to, it can go in his hand, which, you know, would be weird if it couldn't, because like, why would you even make it if it couldn't? But I wouldn't put it past Hasbro, so who knows? That is the blaster in his other hand. What's nice about these is they're clearly meant to be army built. I might pick up another one of these. I don't know. We'll see. If I see one, and I might buy it. But it's nice that we have two options for blaster pistol holding. A big one if you want maybe like, you know, the trooper to have the rifle, maybe the leader to have this. They all kind of look the same, which I guess is kind of racist against Pikes, but they look the same. That is the wave of the newest Black Series figures. I got mine again from Toy Snowman. These will probably hit retail in America soon. Toy Snowman is based in Canada, and for whatever reason, Canada has been getting their figures a lot earlier than America has. Don't ask me why, but it's been that way for a while. I mean, these are supposed to come out in February of 2024, so I would be very surprised if we didn't see them hitting US shelves in the next maybe 3 or 4 weeks. That'll put us well into January, maybe February. So keep your eyes out. I definitely think that the Mandalorian is well worth picking up. Even if you have a Mandalorian, this is what I would call a definitive Mandalorian. The Tusken Raider or Tusken Chieftain is a good pickup, especially if you have more Tuskens, because you need some kind of leader for that group. The Cad Bane is a great pickup if you don't have the 2-pack version. If you do have the 2-pack version, unless you just really like that head better, the 2-pack version, in my opinion, is better in almost every other way. And I think it's better face sculpt as well. And then the Pike surprise hit. Honestly, I don't think it's going to show up in my top 10 this year, because my top 10 this year is just so hard. There's already so many good figures. I just don't think this one could crack it. It is a really good figure. It's a good alien. The line always needs more aliens. That's my opinion on these. They're all good pickups, depending on what your situation is. Personally, the only one I wasn't going to buy was Cad Bane, because I already had it. But I'm glad I did, just so I could show off the differences. But it's probably going to go back in the box, and I'm going to find it a good home. And with that, that's all I've got. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for getting this far. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know down in the downstairs area. Did you get any of these, or are you looking forward to these? Are you passing on them? I love to read and respond. I'd also like to take a moment and thank these people here for supporting me on Patreon. It means a lot to me that you guys do that. If you want to help out the channel, just support me a little bit, you can head over there, patreon.com/MikeCase. Helps me out. But if you don't want to, that's fine too. Liking, sharing, subscribing helps a lot. Commenting helps a lot. And it's just nice. It's fun. Gets me through my day when I see someone comment. So thanks again for getting this far, and I'll see you later. Bye.